Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to another video. We have a ladder match today that I'm going to be reviewing. It's one of mine. It was one that I played versus Flood, who has kind of always been around the 1K mark with myself. I run into him a good amount. Played with him a few times actually. So this is going down on Twin Rivers, and there are a couple things I want to talk about in this game. They're unique strategies in the way that both Flood and I played the game, or maybe mine's not unique, but I think it illustrates a way that you can utilize the full potential of your faction or your civilization, whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying that these are good ways to utilize all of these factions, but they are tools available to you. So got some labs coming out. I have an engineer going for this middle reclaim. He actually survived. This Flood didn't notice that that lab ran into an engineer, so he just kind of ran past, just passing. And I'm not actually sure how that engineer died, or that one died. I think it may have been an auto reclaim, which is kind of funny. But here we go. So this is kind of the first part of this. So Flood's going for both left and right drone. And he actually selects his left drone and then goes and uses it to build stuff along the map, which is an interesting way to play the game. So the shoulder drones off of the UEF commander can be used like engineers. They have a good amount of build power, and they can go and you can select them and have them go and build things around the map. So he has both of his drones. This drone's going to grab, I believe, this mechs and these two mexes, and then is actually going to go for this side island. You can see he's got an air factory queued up. And then the southern drone is working his way down here in the bottom, and has actually queued up a bunch of factories back behind my lines. So I did have radar, but the radar did not extend all the way down here because I was like, there's no way that he's going to do any of that. And so at this point, I feel like the game is going relatively well for me. I've got most of my mexes secured, got a good amount of T1 spam, setting up my line of factories, got a secondary production facility down here. One thing I did notice, and I'll talk about this actually in a future video, that I was really confused about was he was going for a lot of Lobos, and I don't quite understand why, but you know, I guess to each their own. I feel like Lobos get countered kind of hard by Mantis, especially if the Mantis is moving correctly. But at this point, you can see the engineer drone has started making these factories in the back of my base. And at this point, I thought I was winning this game. Like I had overrun this expansion point and was, dealing with all of these Lobos with my Mantis, chewing them up, spitting them out. I have additional T1 forces moving in on his main base. He does have a triad back here, which gave me a little bit of problems. Then we go straight into the back line, take out this next expansion position, and then we storm his base. I tried to do a Shift G there, but instead decided to just focus down the Tier 2 HQ. I should have made a play for the Tier 2 Air HQ as well, though. But at this point, I was feeling really, really good about how the game was progressing, right? Taking out a lot of his core mass. I had upgraded a good amount of my mass. I had upgraded to T2, had these T2 factories cranking, getting my T2 power online. And I was focused entirely on this area, making sure that I did as much damage as possible. I ended up feeding him way too much reclaim, but took out a T2 power generator as well. I thought he was pretty crippled. And this was about the time that I noticed what was going on back here. So these factories have created this infection back here. And we'll take out some core mass. And this was whenever I noticed, so I started moving my commander in to intercept, but both of these were T2 mexes. He's going to kill this T2 mass extractor as well. So that does a lot of damage. So the shoulder drones really paying off here. I'm not sure if you can even get them on radar, but this caused me just a huge amount of grief. And at this point, I was pretty heavily on the back foot, right? Like I had lost a lot of my expansion. I had fed him like some obscene amount of reclaim. He's going to be able to rebuild his economy now. And me, I'm just trying to deal with like all of this stuff that's showed up in the back of my base. Make sure that I have things recovered. Lost a lot of my core mechs. Didn't realize I was kind of panicking at this point. Started rebuilding my core max or core mass. So at this point I was just trying to contain. So that's a really interesting way to play the game, is utilizing these shoulder drones to slip behind enemy lines. I was convinced it was a drop until I came back and watched the replay. Now I see that it was shoulder drones, which is quite interesting. But here you see again him utilizing these shoulder drones, this time to build and upgrade a naval factory. This is again something that caught me entirely off guard because I wasn't scouting, which, you know me, I never scout. Comes back to bite me all the time. But just a really unique and inventive way to play the game. And this is semi-easily countered. You can take down these shoulder drones with interceptors really easily. They take only one shot to take out, and they're kind of expensive relative to how easy they are to kill versus engineers, but they move quickly. They're very difficult to see as well. I don't remember if they appear on radar or not. I can't remember. This is whenever I started scouting though. But he's definitely got his map control back. And now we'll start seeing the first of these cruisers come out. So this is, again, him thinking and utilizing all the weapons in his arsenal. He's going to take out this expansion from me. I thought that this was I thought it was a drop over here. There was a land factory over there that was going to be threatening me. So I'm starting to panic a little bit. I'm throwing units where they shouldn't be, just grinding units into T2 point defense. You know, feeding the turtle. I'm doing everything that you're not supposed to do whenever somebody turtles up. I realized that right about now. I was like, okay, look, I just need to sit back, get my bearings. Right about the time I started to like breathe a little bit easier, I noticed this coming into my base and started panicking again. It's going to take out, I believe this T3 mech survives by the skin of its teeth. Yep, just barely, but spamming up as many zappers as I possibly can. He takes out these mechs again, which also pissed me off. But I did have T3 land, and it was about at this time where I was like, okay, I've lost complete control on this game. Like, there's no way. I tried going T2 torpedo bombers, but there are too many cruisers here in the bay for me to deal with torpedo bombers. Tried taking out the HQ. I was pretty sure that wasn't going to work. Cruiser comes out at just the wrong time. Ends up dealing with all of my torp bombers relatively easily. Pulled back, semi-panicked. Still dealing with the massive amounts of tactical missiles that are coming in, so I'm basically playing missile defense at this point. And I felt like this game just fell apart, like, in front of me. I tried making another attempt, and this is when I realized that there were like 70 cruisers in my bay. I was like, okay, this is an unwinnable scenario. So I got T3 power up. I wanted to upgrade another mass extractor, and I wanted to get to T3 air. And I did something that no Supreme Commander player should ever be proud of, playing as Cybran, but it was the only win condition that I could think of. I decided that it was time to go for a tele-snipe. And again, not something that I'm proud of, but it was my only win condition. I needed T3 air so I could scout his base. He is up to T3 land at this point, I believe. Yep, so T3 land, pushing Percivals and Titans. He's still going a massive amount of T1 bombers. I wasn't quite sure what the deal was with that. Then again, I'm not really moving my units, so he was able to, pick off a lot of them with these T1 bombers. I accidentally started gun speed and range first before I realized that I needed laser. I got the icons mixed up. I was like, wow, that laser was way cheaper than I remembered it being. Taking out more of my units. We've got so many governors in the bay now. But again, using all the tools at your disposal. I'm not saying I'm proud of going for a tele-snipe here, but I felt like it was my only win condition, and it was a tool that was available to me, so I decided that I was going to go for it. This teleporter upgrade was like the longest teleporter upgrade ever. Sent some spy planes out just to see what I was up against. And I do want to stop here and go on this little bit of a tangent for a second. This is a huge T3 army comprised of Percivals and Titans. I have no T3 in my mix. I have a handful of Rhinos. And really, what saved me here was this guy. Can't really see him. He's moving around a lot. That Deceiver, T2 mobile stealth field system, is what I believe saved me, because he did not have on radar, or he did have on radar, but he didn't really know what it was that was in my army comp, because the stealth system, even if he scouted, the stealth system would flip it around. So I was getting my teleporter upgrade. This is taking a painfully long time. The tactical missile defenses are starting to fail. He's got enough governors to be able to start making it through. And he was shelling me with clink hammers. So I spammed up a bunch of energy storage to make sure that I would be able to complete the teleport, sent my spy planes over, saw that he had no tele defense. Did have a stealth field though. And that's whenever I queued up the teleporter, you can see the little red icon at the back of on my back. And away I go. Get into his base. I realized he had a bunch of triads, and I was like, oh my god, I just screwed myself. But ended up pulling it off because I had the T3 construction upgrade, which gave me a little bit of extra health. So a couple things that we want to talk about. Tele-snipe, just like the shoulder drones, are super easy to defend against. The amount of mass it takes to defend against them versus the amount of mass it actually takes to invest in a tele-snipe is so disproportionate. Like, you just need 20 or so T1 point defense, and a tele-snipe is never going to work. Just like the shoulder drones, where if it works really, really well. But if it doesn't work, you end up spending a lot of mass doing something that was very easily countered. So I wanted to create this video just to illustrate some of these out of left field strategies that I run into and that I sometimes try and utilize. Like I said, I'm sure I'm prepared for all of the hate for going for a tele-snipe here, but it was my only option. It ended up winning me the game, so come at me. But this shoulder drone thing was, I think, really cool. Was very creative, very inventive, easily countered, but something that is a tool in every UEF player's arsenal. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys learned something on, I guess, how weird strategies can impact gameplay, I guess is what I was trying to say. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to go ahead and stop it there, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.